I have a confession to make, and that is that I'm a music professor whose main concern is not music. And I'm embarrassed to tell you what that main concern is, because when I say it, it's going to sound preposterous and pretentious and naive and recklessly optimistic and idealistic and also kind of self-righteous and arrogant and narcissistic and just unfashionable. Anyway, okay, but here goes. So in all of my classes, regardless of the title or their nominal content, my main motivation is to make the world a better place and to improve the human condition. Yeah, nervous laughter, because like nobody likes the earnest guy. It's more fun to hang out with the amusing cynic. Here's the thing, though. Music, I've discovered, is an excellent platform to equip our students with the relevant skills to take on the thorniest world's social problems. Problems that are often born out of ignorance and prejudice and a kind of tribal anxiety. The act of appreciating, music appreciation, the act of appreciating a foreign genre that is coming to terms with some sort of alien and maybe previously disliked musical idiom is actually analogous to the intellectual context from which social divides might be bridged. You can imagine, in a sense, two roommates who are having a kind of an argument that goes something like this. Turn down your stupid country music. Country music sucks. No, you turn down your dumb heavy metal music. Heavy metal sucks. Doesn't matter what the genres are in this imagined, debate. It could be rap and classical music or whatever. But the point is, if I can get those students into my classroom and have them undertake a rigorous examination of the attributes of the other genre and think about the values of that genre's practitioners and intended audience, and finally perceive the distance between their set of values and those of the genre, well, then quite often, first of all, they'll actually be better equipped to make more refined and germane criticisms. But more often, and I respect that, but more often than not, actually, their sort of fear and animus sort of dissolves and is replaced with tolerance and appreciation, and more often than not, actually admiration and sometimes even affinity and participation. Of course, I want my students to know something about music theory. I want them to understand the formal parameters of various musical expressions, but it's really the essential takeaway for me is this secret subtext, not so secret now that I'm saying this publicly, I guess, this subtext, which is about the transformative experience of cultivating a more open mind. That's really what it's about. And I have a kind of a ground-laying exercise that I like to do with the students beforehand. So I'll take half the students and I'll say, your job is to get together and come up with all the words you can think of using the letters in the word Stanford University, and only those letters. And I'll give the other half of the class the challenge of compiling a list of all the tools that you should have on hand to fix a bicycle. And they have no problem with this. In short order, they've produced these robust lists, and they actually find the enterprise fun. Okay, but then I change the challenge. I make it significantly more difficult. The first group now has to come up with all the words they can make from Stanford University in Danish. And the second group has to list all the tools you should have on hand to fix an atomic particle accelerator. And of course, I've made some cultural presumptions here. First, that there will be few, if any, Danish speakers, and secondly, that the accelerator will be, esoteric, at least compared to the more quotidian bicycle. Okay, then we look at their lists, and their lists are rather modest. In fact, they're empty. And the students, they didn't have much fun with this. The fun wouldn't describe their experience at all. And they know why. It's because they lack the necessary contingent knowledge that would make engagement with those problems more meaningful. And by extension, they come to understand that maybe, just maybe, they lack the requisite contingent knowledge to make a meaningful judgment about a foreign musical idiom. Was the jazz saxophonist's improvisation in which he or she quoted a snippet of an old Tin Pan Alley tune, was that moment ingenious? Was it witty? Was it heretical? Was it iconoclastic? Was it cliche? How can you know if you don't know anything about jazz? Okay, as it has been said, you don't know what you like what you know. And by extension, knowing is fun. Okay, so the inference that I'm hoping that they make is that this moves outside of the music classroom. Okay, I'm hoping that my students leave my class and they encounter new people, different ideas, and they approach them with a kind of corresponding humility, which says, maybe I don't possess the necessary contingent knowledge to best understand why this person lives his or her life in the way that they do. When asked to distill these thoughts into 5 words, I came up with these, albeit pretentious ones, and they go like this. Acknowledging ignorance leads to love. Thanks.